بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم إن الله عليم خبير بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد صدق الله العظيم.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today is not just an event. It is not just a weekend program. Today is a moment of remembrance, reflection, and responsibility. This legacy weekend began very simply with a conversation. Someone, and I've urged him to divulge who it is, but he wants to remain anonymous, in passing mentioned a very powerful thought. As MAIK in one of the committees, which is the Legacy Committee, we were sitting, and he mentioned, do you realize that it is 150 years since the arrival of the first Kholvadians in South Africa? By the way, some people have questioned that. It has been confirmed by somebody in conversations over the weekend that have come through. So it's 150 years of the first Kholvadians in South Africa. That single remark stopped us in our tracks, because 150 years is not a statistic. It is sacrifice, it is migration, it is faith carried across oceans. It is generations of people who arrived with little more than conviction, resilience, and trust in Allah. That moment sparked a question that became a calling. How do we honor 150 years properly? Not with just nostalgia alone, not with selective memory, but with honesty, with dignity, and with purpose. And from that question, the idea of this, the Kholvad Legacy Weekend, was born. This weekend is built on three key pillars. One, the past. Number two, the present. And three, the future. The past is our foundation. We remember where we come from, not as a romantic story, but as a lived reality. Our elders endured hardship, displacement, exclusion, and struggle. Yet, they preserved our beautiful deen, education, family structure, and moral grounding. They built institutions, much like MAIK, which in 2026 is now 111 years old. They prioritized learning. They protected our identity. They gave back to society, even when society did not always give back to them. Their legacy was not just about survival. It was about contribution, and significant contribution. The second pillar is the present. The present is our responsibility collectively. We live in a vastly different South Africa today, one filled with opportunity, but also complexity. We face new challenges. There's an identity erosion in our communities. There's a disconnected youth from our traditions. there's economic pressures, there's moral confusion, and there's fragmentation within our communities. The present asks us a difficult but necessary question. What are we doing with the inheritance we received? Legacy is not something you inherit passively. Legacy is something you carry actively. And that is where today becomes critically important. The future, the third pillar, is our trust, is our amana, and it belongs to the youth. That is why one of the most important outcomes of this Legacy Weekend is the launch of the Kholvad Youth Forum. The KYF, as it's affectionately known, is not created just as a committee, as an NPC. It was not created just for optics. It is created as a platform to empower young people, to cultivate leadership rooted in our Islamic ethos and values. It is to create economic and social pathways for our youngsters. And it is to preserve our rich identity and heritage while still engaging in the modern world. Critically, it is to build bridges between our generations, between our elders and the youth, so as not to divide us. We want our youth to know, and they're all out there playing paddle. There's been an international paddle tournament, as I mentioned. Some amazing youngsters. There's a youngster there that's 14 years old that is #1 in Africa. He's now going to be playing in Italy in an international stage. We want our youth to know you do not need to choose between tradition and progress. You can honor your roots and shape the future. Legacy, by its very nature, is not about monuments. It's about continuity. If our legacy does not speak to the youth, it will end with us. It will die with us. If we do not adapt, it will become irrelevant, and we will become irrelevant. If our legacy does not inspire, it will be forgotten. And so, this weekend is not about looking back with pride alone. It is about looking forward with intention. We have deliberately brought together voices from our deen, scholars like Maulana, people from the education field, people that have more than 10,000 hours, which they say you are a specialist in investment and finance, people in the leadership field, people that can talk about family dynamics, and most importantly, prominent Kholvadians and influencers who have lived these experiences. Because legacy is holistic. It is not only spiritual, it is not only economic, it is not only cultural. It is an integration of values, of action, and importantly, action focused around a vision. Let me say this clearly. This Kholvad Legacy Weekend is not the end. It is just the beginning of a journey. The conversations we start here must continue. The youth we inspire here must be supported beyond today. The ideas shared here must translate into action. Legacy is not what we say today. It is what our children and our grandchildren will say about us tomorrow. To our elders, we thank you. We honor you. We stand on your shoulders. To our peers, this is our moment, each one of us, to lead responsibly and inclusively. To our youth, you are not the future. You are the present in preparation. This platform is yours. This legacy is yours to shape. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant barakah to this gathering. Ameen. May Allah unite our hearts. May Allah allow this legacy to be preserved with integrity, with wisdom, and most importantly, with humility. And may the next 150 years, inshallah, be even more impactful than the last. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. جزاكم الله.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to this Kholvad Legacy weekend. We're out here in Roshni at Inyata Paddle Courts, and we have somebody that is well known in our community. He's a Kholvadian, for those of you who didn't know, is Mohammed Kaji from Asri. He's a psychologist as well, and he wants to share a few words around his impact on the Kholvad community and how particularly social media has had an impact on our family fabric. Mohammed?
Jazakallah khairan, Yusuf. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. Yeah, so, Jazakallah khairan for the invite. It's amazing to be here with many friends and family. There's so many familiar faces that we've recognized. In terms of your question, I think that many parents at home are starting to grapple with this issue, and it's becoming an ongoing kind of conversation in our households, which is around the use of social media in our households, the impact it's having on our kids, the management of it. Many parents are struggling to manage and have guidelines around how they manage their kids and the kind of access to social media that kids now have. So firstly, the psychology of it, right? We're starting to see data that there's increased levels of ADHD within kids who are using social media without management. We're starting to see an increase in mental disorders amongst children, including anxiety, depression, the kind of depression related to comparisons between others, and this entire kind of competition for likes and so on. And when parents start grappling with this, they start saying, well, is it fair for me to start reducing the use of social media amongst my kids? Absolutely. Hand-in times for children for their devices, no device times in terms of meal times, in terms of study time and so on. Like myself, my kids hand in their devices at 8 o'clock at night. So that's a standing rule in our household. And I think that parents who are starting to grapple with this need to find a model where they're able to balance access to devices for their children, but also keeping them connected with society. And I think that's the connection with the Kholvad legacy, which is, we have such a rich legacy of family and friends and an extended social fabric. It's very hard to retain that unless we're actually socializing with our family. And what we're starting to see with the use of devices is that kids start pulling back, they lose social skills, they lose the ability to engage with others, to form friendships, to find bonds. And so I think to round it all up, events like this are important so that, families and their kids and so on are getting out. But I think it's also important for us to move on, with the Kholvad Youth Foundation as well as the Kholvad Women's Forum in terms of more of this training for our households on how we manage social media use in our homes and assist, our friends, our family, our communities with the skills and the resources to be able to manage this new generation that are very tech savvy, they're digitally native, and they largely connected to their devices. They can't kind of put it aside for more than 10, 20, 30 minutes. So I think, going forward, that might be a way that we can make a difference in our communities, inshallah.
No, great. Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you for that. Thanks. Assalamu alaikum. We have now at the Kholvad Legacy Weekend Festival somebody that's out here from Barbados. By the way, he's the only Kholvadian in Barbados. It's Rafiq Patel. I found out that he's actually my close family, but then again, all Kholvadians are family. Rafiq, let's hear Why are you here? What is this Kholvad link? And tell us a little bit about your experiences of how you ended up in Barbados.
Okay, walaikum assalam. I was born in India, in the village of Kholvad, left Kholvad in 1960. We immigrated to Barbados. My father was already there. And in 1960, my mother, my brother, and I met my father in Barbados. So I have a history of being in Kholvad, attending the Montessori that was mentioned here, sponsored by money from South African Kholvadians. Small island, 166 square miles, only Kholvadian alive. My father passed away, my mother passed away, my brother passed away. So I was told about this thing, saw it on social media. I made it my business to attend here because my family is extensive in South Africa. My Nanima was married to Abu Bakr Kaji from Rudiport. Then she got divorced, and then she got married to Muhammad Dindar from Arbalo. So connection-wise, 95% of my family is based in South Africa.
But what you're not telling us is you in Barbados, very close to the cricket stadium, and your love for cricket, and having experienced people like Hashim Amla and all of them that came to see you.
My house is about 50 yards away from the very famous Kensington Oval. So any cricket team that has Muslims on the team, they always come by me for dinner. Hashim Amla, Dr. Musaji, Aslam Khota, all the cricketers from Pakistan team, they're by me for dinner. When we had World Cup in 2007, there were 27 South Africans who came to watch. And every evening after the game, they ate by me. So I'm very closely associated with cricket. I played cricket for every school in Barbados. I played cricket for the University of West Indies. And I'm very sorry now of the state of the West Indies cricket team at the moment. We were very proud West Indians, and I would like to see the West Indies team emerge again, because cricket needs West Indies team, a strong West Indies team.
Thank you, Rafiq. It has been an absolute pleasure for you to be on our shores, and we hope to enjoy your rest of your stay in South Africa, sunny South Africa.
I am supposed to attend the game, the third West Indies South Africa game at Wanderers on the 31st of January.
Oh, that will be awesome.
Jazakallah, thanks a lot.
All right, welcome again to the Kholvad Legacy Weekend Festival, and we have a prominent Kholvadian, whilst we hear the sounds of the paddle being happening on the side, Yusuf Kaji. Yusuf Kaji is an educationalist, and he's going to share some of his insights using technology for education and its impact on education.
Assalamu alaikum. Thanks, Yusuf. Yeah, basically, Islam is a tradition, right, that goes back 1400 years and even before. And here we are in 2026. Many years, centuries have passed. So where do we stand in terms of Islamic thought and civilization, our civilization, right? That's my main thrust, and I want to develop with others a collective to look at materials that will look at these periods that we've been through. Okay, we've been through a lot, but I don't know what. I can say much. I could go on for an hour on talking about this. So I would prefer you ask now.
All right. So your technology that you have is an app driven?
Correct. Yeah. You see, the thing is Islamic thought and civilization. We want to start with the pre-colonial times, right? Or pre-modern times like that. People like Imam Ghazali, Shah Waliullah, Ahmad Sirhindi, these people wrote about their times, right? Their difficulties were the Mongols, the Crusades. That was their period. And of course, I mean, there's a background to that also. Historically, what was they had an empire then, so-called empire. I mean, the Abbasids and the Umayyads and so on. And subsequent to that, you get the colonial period, right, which brought in early modernity. And there you had people like Iqbal and others speak about the situation, the colonial and modern period, right, that they were going through. And in terms of knowledge and civilization, what were these people saying to us? Iqbal wrote a book, an English book, and he wrote many other things, poetry and so on. And maybe earlier than that, there were many others also, like Rumi and so on, right?
So
But
what I want to just bring up, of course, we've got a short time, is now the impact. How does this? We're talking of the Kholvad Youth Forum that we're launching. How does it impact the youth? Just in a few seconds.
Look, it's an educational program, and Madrasa Islamia, Anjuman Islamia Kholvadian. Who today people don't even young people go to Muslim schools. They don't even know what a madrasa is, right? They don't go to madrasa anymore. All right, they do certain subjects at Islamic schools, which we can call madrasa. Now, madrasa is a learning institute, and the Anjuman is an association or body that promotes that. Okay, promotes madrasa education. Madrasa is actually a place where you go and learn, not necessarily just Islam, right? That is our problem, that the knowledge has been divided into fragments. So we want to develop an app. We want to develop a website. We want to have a short booklet that gives the whole ideology behind it, guidelines, introduction, give links to articles, to videos, to materials, right, on all these kinds of topics. And of course, if you talk about today, there's a person by the name of Ziauddin Sardar who looks at and has coined the term post-normal times. We live in a time where there's chaos, there's contradiction, there's complexities, right? Look at what is going on in the world. And I think someone mentioned here, if it wasn't you, to say that know the world.
Yes.
How do you know the world? I mean, are you an academic? If you're an academic, you specialize in your field. Do you know the world? And that is where the intellectualism comes in. And Allah has bestowed us with aql.
Yes.
Right? That is an Arabic term, and we use it in some of our dialects. Aql. Aql is intellect and intellectualism. Where is that gone to?
All right. Thank you. Thank you. That's on that very profound note. We thank you, Yusuf. All right. Welcome to Kholvad Legacy Weekend Festival. And this is a face that many people know. He's been on our airwaves on Hilaal TV, as well as on many channels around the world. This is Zainul Abidin Kaji, the specialist I would regard in Waqf and Islamic finance. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Also a Kholvadian for those of you that don't know. Zainul, what is your role here attending this festival, and what are you actually wanting to impact our youth on?
Okay, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and thanks for having me here on this program. Basically, I think my role here is to address the issue of empowerment and of identity. And I think that what is important for me is to look back at where we are currently in South Africa in terms of the Muslim community, in terms of the broader South African community, and to see how we position ourselves, not as Kholvadians, but as Muslims in this country. Because we've heard Muhammad Baba also speaking, and other speakers, that with the kind of impact that we as a ummah are making in political circles and employment, and so we are concerned about issues about businesses dwindling, our youth actually getting into high-level professions, which is a good thing. And then I think we need to move from village mentality to ummah mentality. And I think that is critical for our well-being in South Africa and the well-being of what we can do. And I think, like Muhammad Baba also spoke about the contributions that we are making in the broader community, and the kind of accolades that people like Gift of the Givers and Imtiaz Suleiman, all these are, the credit that the Muslim Ummah is actually getting out of all these efforts.
Yeah, I think the important message here is moving away from the village mentality to an ummah mentality. Thank you, Senol. Thank you.